Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Action Coach webinar this afternoon. So we're going to be talking through our business growth system, which we call 6 steps and 5 ways. So let's get started. So firstly, a little bit about Action Coach, if you're not familiar with us, and then I'll introduce myself. And then I'm going to be sharing today's webinar with my colleague, Jason. So then Jason's going to introduce himself as well. So a little bit about us first as Action Coach. So, we are the world's #1 business coaching firm. We have literally 1,000 coaching offices around the world now in 80 different countries. The UK is one of our strongest markets. And if you're not familiar with our heritage, then we are privately owned and founded by Brad Chugers, who actually started Action Coach in Australia in 1993, so we're 27 years young now, and we operate on a franchise basis. So a little bit about me. So I own the franchise for Action Coach Winchester, Basingstoke and Farnborough, and I'm the head coach here as well. I relate very strongly to business owners because I've co-founded and built built up my own technology business, as well as having a strong corporate career as well with companies at Disney, the Walt Disney Company. Prior to starting Action Coach, I'd qualified as a certified professional coach, and I've got a business administration master's as well. So that's a little bit about me. So Jason, do you want to just introduce yourself quickly?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here. So I'm Jason Aloka, business coach with Natalie. Started with Natalie at the beginning. I have a business career spanning 25, 30 years. I have had my own startup back in the noughties and sold it in about 2015, 2016, a successful online business. I did take a coach on in that time. Not as soon as I'd rather, but I certainly did take a coach on at that time. Not an action coach, but I enjoy working on your goals and getting your business to where it should be. So I'm looking forward to talking you through some of those strategies.
Great, thanks Jason. So you'll be hearing from Jason in a moment, but I'm just going to quickly complete kind of today's introduction. So we have a couple of kind of rituals in a way within Action Coach in our coaching, and that we also use within our webinars. And the first is this really is, and we call it being above the point of power. So the yellow dot on the screen is this point of power. We can choose to be either adopting those behaviors that we'll probably recognize as those kind of negative behaviors, things, like blaming other people, blaming ourselves, making excuses for not getting things done, being in denial perhaps about the current situation, and for not taking action. But what we want coming into today's webinar, and certainly for you to be the most coachable, is to be taking responsibility. We are all the captain of our own ship as the business owners, so we've got kind of control of the oar of our boat. So we need to be in that powerful state of mind of taking ownership, being accountable, and taking responsibility. So in any coaching with me, you'll always find me up and positive, even if you're not up and positive. So me and Jason, we're going to be above the point of power for sure in this next hour, as we always are, Jason. And to get the most out of today's webinar, just please do participate, give 100%, and you will get, sorry, I'm going the wrong way, 100% back. So just a couple of little things to think about there. And what we're going to be doing at the end of this is just making an offer to come into either a complimentary strategy session with me, Jason, which is, say, complimentary. It's focused on your business, how we can help you grow your business, or you can come and have a taster session to one of our group coaching sessions, either Profit Club, which is for solopreneurs, or Action Club. If you've got a slightly larger business, you're already starting to employ people, then Action Club's a great group coaching product. And you can come and just have a taster session before looking to kind of join as a member. But we'll come back to those kind of offers towards the end of today's session. So Jason, over to you just to kind of lead into today's webinar.
Sure. So we obviously are speaking to hundreds of business owners through the year, and these are their three main frustrations. There may be others, but these are the three primary that we end up speaking to business owners about. And the first one being time. Time is our most valuable asset, and you just do not get it back. So but we hear from business owners that I haven't got time to build my business, I haven't got time for a coach. So that's one of the main challenges we hear, along with team and money, but certainly time. You know, we want a business owner, as you can see at the bottom there, we want having your own businesses to give you more life. So with a time frustration, you know, maybe the business owner is missing out on some of the pleasures that really a business should be bringing you. And then there's team, and that could be challenges recruiting the right people, or actually getting the best out of the team that you currently have in your business. There may be solo entrepreneurs on here that don't have a team yet, and indeed that don't want a team. But certainly, you know, once you start working with us, you know, we do invariably, you know, here, well, actually, I think I might get somebody to come and help me with that. But so team is a big frustration for the business owners we speak to. And then finally is money. What business owner doesn't really want more money coming from the business, and you know, helping them to generate the sales, the more profits and the cash that the business owner sometimes wants, or generally wants, but actually sometimes they believe they can do it. So, you know, there could be a mindset shift there, for some beliefs that they can actually get more from this business. So they're the three most common things we hear. So, you know, have a think to yourself, which, you know, what one applies to you, and maybe let us know. But so here at Action Coach, we have a definition of a real business, and 6 steps, which I've already mentioned. I'm going to cover it a little bit in a moment. Is we work through 6 steps to really to achieve here what you've got. So it's a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Now, certainly the last one there, without you, is optional, but because we want business owners to get more life, we want to give them that option. We want to give them options to get to a certain point, and it may be 5-10 years down the line, where they've got the option to not so much work in the business and have a job in the business, but we want our business owners to be able to work on their business, and possibly and give them some time to have options and maybe go and do another business, or continue with it. So certainly it's optional, but and then we move on to 6 steps to massive results. And this is the strategy we take every business owner through. We certainly get objections occasionally that oh, my business is different, but we take every business through these 6 steps. So we start at the bottom with mastery, where we eliminate the chaos and get the stability of the business, basically the foundations of the business. And then we move up to marketing. This is where we would get, as you can see there, flashing across, the predictable cash flows, where we get the business earning the cash and generating the business that you really want. Then we move on to systems, basically getting the business as efficient as possible. Most businesses are made up of about 80% of repetitive tasks, so we'll systematize a business to make sure that your team, which is the next step, run those systems effectively. And the teams is your structure for growth. Basically, if you've got a team in place, you can then don't have to work in the business, and you can spend more time working on it, or other pleasures. And then the top 2, actually, team, systems, marketing, mastery, I look at them as the apprenticeship of really running your own business. And we do find that our business owners, sometimes, you know, they've nailed those 4: team, systems, marketing, and mastery. And then they, you know, it gives them options. They may then want to go and start another business, sell this business, or just live off the passive income. So, and then in synergy and results. So synergy is where, you know, you do have that well-oiled machine. Everything is fine-tuned, working as it should. And synergy is where you maybe are looking at options like opening up different geographic locations, or franchising, just like Action Coach. And then results, the business owner has spent a lot of hard work getting the business to this point, And that's when they've truly got their options, and they may want to consider living off the income or sell the business and do something else. So 6 steps is certainly the strategy that all businesses with us go through in our coaching programs. Now, back down to the bottom, mastery. As you can see, it relates to a commercial enterprise in our definition, but mastery is so important that it's actually broken into 4 areas, basically the 4 pillars of your business. Okay, we say from chaos to control there, not saying it's chaotic, but we will certainly look at each part of that business, and they are destination mastery, money mastery, time mastery, and delivery mastery, and we'll look at each one in turn over the next few slides. So we generally start with the destination in mind, begin with the end in mind. So touch in with you about why you started the business. You may have lost your vision. I certainly did when I started my business, and my coach certainly helped me get back on board with those visions, and then 5 years later I sold it, kind of thing. So we'll look at what you want your business to look like in maybe 5 or 10 years, and that's all about goal setting, and we encourage you to write them down, and we'll go through a process of looking at your 1, 3, 5 and 10-year goals, depending on how old you are. We'll look at your vision and your purpose and your culture. And if you've got a team, they need to have your vision as well. You are the captain of the ship, but you've got a crew, and they need to have your vision as well. So obviously, if you're on your own, you still need your customers to see some of those visions and purposes, and that helps as a marketing tool in some respects. We'll encourage, all businesses really need business plans, and then we'll break that down into a quarterly business plan, which is what we call a 90-day plan here at ActionCOACH. And we have something called the Growth Club, which runs every quarter. It's actually running next week, where we invite all of our clients into a session for the day and encourage them to work on their plan for the next quarter, the next 90 days. And our coaching programs will touch in with those plans for the next 90 days and keep them on track. So that's destination, a vital part of a business. And then we move on to money mastery, and an area that we find many business owners struggle with. And you really need to nail this area. You need to know your figures to be able to work on them. And as you can see there, we like to encourage monthly P&L and balance sheets, regular forecasts, break even down to the day. But money mastery is sometimes an area that some business owners just don't have visibility of. So we actually have a webinar coming up in a few weeks about finance. So if that's an area that you feel you may be weak on, pop into that webinar too. But money mastery is the second foundation of our mastery and of our business foundations. Apologies. Then thirdly, time mastery. Now, I've touched on, this is one of the frustrations we hear from a lot of business owners, and an objection we get to coaching. So we'll look at basically the business owners and their teams, working patterns. We'll see how they're using their time, whether it's how productive it is, and we'll go through things like skills value matrix, where we'll look at the skill value of the tasks that they're doing over a week or 2 weeks, and then at the end of that 2 weeks, we can look to see where you're spending your time and your team. So and we'll often find that you possibly are spending time unproductively, and there could be tasks there that you could delegate, so or get third parties to do. So time mastery, super important part of our foundation again. But then finally, delivery mastery. No point really building on a business if what you're delivering to your customers is not consistent and to the level that you really want it. So we'll look at things like how easy it is for customers to buy from you, and your fulfillment process and your invoicing. We want your customers to become raving fans. So we really need the delivery part of your business to be up there consistent, so your customers know exactly what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. And delivery mastery is the final part of the foundation for any business that we work with in ActionCOACH. So then from mastery, you've now got the foundation. We've looked at all the areas we've just discussed, and then we'd move on to marketing, basically bringing in or looking at the cash flow of the business, your revenue streams, and we'll build on that. We'll look at target markets, and in particular, the two things there on the screen, your USP and your guarantee. ActionCOACH is really built around our guarantee, which just briefly I'll just touch on, is whatever you invest with us, depending on what coaching program you come into, depending on what kind of program you're in, whatever you invest with us, if we don't make you that money up in gross profit in a certain period, either 6 to 12 months, we will refund you the difference, or we will offer you free coaching to reach that amount. And a very strong guarantee, and it just shows you how confident we are that our strategies here, 6 steps, and I'm going to come on to next 5 ways of how confident we are that they're going to work. That brings me on to 5 ways. So most business owners, as you can see, they generally know how many customers they have, what their revenue is, and how much profit they make. But these are all just results, and there are certain levers in our business, and the levers I'm referring to are those labels in blue: the leads, the conversion, the transactions, the value, and the gross profit. They're the levers that we can adjust over time. So this is just a snapshot of a small business. As you can see, they have 4,000 leads, a conversion rate of 25%. That leaves them with 1,000 customers. Those 1,000 customers on average are spending 2 transactions a year with us, or with you, apologies, and then average value of sale is £100. That would give a net sales of £200,000. Then we'd apply our gross profit margin of 25% and give you a gross profit of £50,000. What we do here on 5 ways is we work on small increases on all of our levers. The labels in red are just really answers that, you know, they come after the equals. We can't affect those. How they are affected is by working on the levers in the business, and they are the leads, conversions, as I mentioned before. So what we'll work on in this scenario is just a 10% increase on those numbers. So we'll work on our leads to increase them by 10% from 4,000 to 4,400. And then we'll work on our conversion rate of about 10% to increase it from 25% to 27.5%. That doesn't just give us a 10% increase in customers, it gives us a 21% increase in customers from 1,000 to 1,210. Then we work on a 10% increase on both average transactions per year and the average sale, taking them up to 2.2 and £110, and that will give us a 46% increase on our net sales, so jumping from 200,000 to just shy of 300,000. And then finally, we work on our gross profit margin to increase that from 25% to 27.5%, and that will give us a huge 61% increase in gross profit from 50,000 to just over 80,000. So we have over 300 strategies across the board to work on those levers, and we would do that year on year with each customer. And as you can see, there we are. That leads to a 46% increase in your revenue and a 61% increase in your profits. So we will certainly come up with some modeling for your business if we have some basic figures. But and this just gives you an example of a slightly larger business, and all we've really changed is the average sale there. We've added a 0 onto the average value of sale, £1,000, increase that to 1,100, and you can see the same results. The net sales jump from 2 million almost up to 3 million, and gross profit from £500,000 to just over £800,000. So that's the strategy. Again, Thanks, Natalie. Again, you know, we apply this to every business that we work with. You know, I like to look at a business a bit like a car. They all have the same chassis. So that chassis is those 5 levers: the number of leads, the conversion rate, the transactions, the value of sale, and the gross profit. That makes up every business really, and therefore we can work on them. Hasn't got to be 10%. It can be a smaller or larger percentage depending on the size of the business. But we do have over 300 strategies to work on those. So I believe, Natalie, that was maybe back to you, was it? Systems. There you go.
Thanks, Jason. Yes, I'll just cover systems and team, and then we'll show you some real examples actually of some of how we work through some of these things with our clients. So let's talk a little bit then about the 3rd level and systems, which, as Jason's already said, is all about working out of this business all those inefficiencies and really getting the business to be efficient by having great systems. So a couple of key principles that we work with our clients is this kind of concept that, you know, systems are what runs a business. How do you scale up a business? How do you make a business have a value that's at its optimum for the future? Well, it's by ensuring that, you know, if the ownership of the business was to change because you sell it to a new business owner, that they inherit from you all the systems that you've built. And they can be, you know, everything from a very simple written procedure on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet, through to, you know, a complex automation system. But nevertheless, the principle is systems run a business. People then can run those systems. You as the business owner lead the team and run the team. So Jason's already mentioned in time mastery, you know, we look there at delegation. And so this is where you can only effectively delegate when you've got systems in place. So when you've got systems defined, you can train your people in those systems, then you can properly delegate to them. And then you've got this kind of happy cycle where you can continuously then go about improving those systems. So once you've got the basis of the systems written down, basis of systems are being automated, then you can go through this cycle of constantly improving them. So you know, systems is also, if you take that acronym of systems, we like to say it's about you smartly saving yourself time, energy, and money. That's our definition of what system actually means in reality, or the benefit of why invest in good systems and systematize the business. And we're looking for that nice optimum balance of kind of 80, what we call the 80-20 rule. You know, let's look to systematize 80% of the business, those things that you're repeating day in, day out, week in, week out, the things that are going to save you that time and energy. But, you know, what we all want to be able to do is keep that very important human contact and that time that we've got of our team to actually work when those exceptions come up. You know, things always go wrong in a business in the delivery to customer. We're trying to make it as consistent as we can, but nevertheless, you know, things do happen and we need to jump on them when they do. So if you've got things systematized to that kind of 80-20 rule, then you can kind of leave that very precious 20% of that human resource that you have to kind of deal with the exceptions and deal with those special touch points that you provide to your customers. And, you know, we do this in ActionCOACH by really good, effective testing and measuring of how our systems are working. We have systems for how we go about recruiting people, how we go about training them and educating them in our systems. We have those systems that are in place for ensuring that's consistent delivery and distribution of our products, and that we're looking to use technology to maximum effect as well. We've all seen that, you know, in the pandemic that we're going through right now, that digitization of our businesses and our online presence has never been more important than it is now. So systems are super important, as is team. And, you know, Jason described that, trying to get to that stage where you've got a business that can work without you. And that's really what you can achieve once you've got the right team in place and you've got that structure in place for growing the business for the future, and that the business is no longer dependent upon your involvement. So what we're looking for our clients to do, you know, what we tend to find is everybody starts a business or comes into a business because they've got a particular expertise, you know, in their profession or in their trade. So as a result of it, if you look at any business and you look at, You know, you're as a business owner, you're responsible for operating the business, the operations, for the marketing and sales activity, for the finance. Often what you'll find is that business owners got this very skewed focus on operations and less so on marketing and financial. So what we want our clients to be as the business owner is to have a nice balance, in a way to be the biggest generalist that they possibly can be for their business, so that they can have a focus equally on operations, and that they can focus just as much time and energy on marketing and selling, as well as, when Jason described, knowing your numbers, on on money mastery, really being on top of your finances and those important KPIs are for your business as well. So we're looking to get you a very strong but equal focus on these different areas of the business. How do we do that? So I think, first of all, we work with our clients for them to recognize, if they don't already understand this kind of concept, that I think you'll always hear a business owner talking about wearing multiple hats. So, you know, what we want our clients to do is to recognize when they're wearing each of these different hats. So you've got that hat first and foremost as the general manager, as the leader of your business. You know, you've got that hat that you're wearing. But then you know, if you're responsible directly for all these other functions, you're going to be switching from marketing to focusing your selling, to, again, back to your operations, back to your running your finance and admin, through to that focus on your people and your kind of human resource activity. So what we want for our clients as they build their businesses is, you know, we want them to put these specialists in place, have somebody running marketing, running sales, running operations, finance and people, and then ultimately having a general manager to run the business as well. Now, you might be thinking, well, my business will never be big enough to have all of these people in place, and that's not my intention. It's not what I want for my business, and that's fair enough. But what you do need to recognize is that you are wearing all these hats, and that's certain times of the day, certain days of the week, you do need to deliberately and consciously put these hats on and have this kind of focus within your business. So, but in terms of building a team that can do this, ultimately, this is where you need to get to, that you've got somebody looking after marketing that isn't you, and perhaps a team of people delivering the marketing for you, somebody running sales for you, somebody operationally responsible, etc. So by having that clear view of this is a structure we're working towards, then this is what we start to work with our clients on. Now, as your coach, Jason and myself, what we're doing is working with you directly as the business owner, so that you can go about improving the team, you know, through systems and through all the marketing steps and the mastery steps that Jason's described. We work directly with you to equip you with the skills that you feel you're lacking in any of these areas, improving your knowledge, improving these skills, so that you can then develop your team in those roles I've just described. And then you're in this nice happy cycle of, you know, you develop your team through your systems, deliver to your customers, and then you get the business that you want, and you've got this kind of nice positive cycle happening. To finish off on team, you know, we've all got, as the leaders of our business, to really think about these 8 key ways to a winning team. So we're featuring the Mercedes Formula One team from last year, a team that we can probably highlight as a very successful team. And if you think about any successful team, you know, they've got strong leadership. They're all working to very much a common goal, and that's something that Jason talked about. When you've got that strong sense of having a vision and a purpose, then you've got that. That's how you go about having that common set of goals for your team. You know, Jason talked about having clearly defined values, and that's how you go about ensuring that your team understand how you want them to operate. What are their rules of the game that you want them to play, through having that very clearly defined set of values and culture. You know, all of your team members need to have very clearly defined action plans, whether that's, you know, their performance development plan for the next month, the next quarter, the next 12 months. You know, all team members need to have that very clear action plan. As the leader, there's that balance. If you want people to grow, you've got to allow them to take some risks as well. So again, Jason talked in Time Mastery about delegation. You know, delegation is the art of gradually delegating the right level of responsibility to people, and once you trust them to perform to that next level, then you can give them more responsibility and increase what you delegate to them. And that's how you can effectively let people grow, take on more responsibility, and manage the risk. But without giving people a bit of a rein and a bit of a freedom, then they'll never develop. So you've got to get that balance and expect that you are going to be taking some risk in being able to delegate and grow the responsibilities that people have in your team. So supporting risk taking is really important, as is having an inclusive culture, an inclusive environment, one where people feel that they can be involved, they can contribute to the ideas, the strategy making. You know, you've got to set, again, the ground rules for what they can contribute to and what they can't, what you're going to keep hold of, and where you're going to kind of let them involved and get them involved. But the more you can involve people, we've all experienced that, perhaps those times that where we've actually been employed rather than we've been the boss. You know, the best bosses I've had are the ones that involve me in not just what I need to do, but why am I doing it, and how should I do it. The more you can give people instructions around the why and the how, not just the kind of go and do it kind of mentality, the more you're going to get out of people by making them feel involved, by giving them that ongoing training and that sense that, you know, they've got growth within your team as well, and through really effective communication. So we're constantly working with our clients on how can we communicate well. What I want to do in a moment is share some of the tools that we do work with our clients on that help towards this common goal setting. You know, how can you be clear about the rules of the game? How can you be clear about the action planning? And how can you involve people in taking them on that journey with you? You know, as soon as you are feeling that, you know, people are on the journey with you, the more your business is going to really take off. The more that you feel that you're dragging your team behind you, and you've really got to look at, well, have I really got these good winning ways of a winning team in place? Because if you've got any sense that I'm dragging my team and they're not on this journey with me, kind of, you know, in the front of the bus with me, then the more you are probably not actually fulfilling these ways of a winning team. And that's a key area where Jason and myself as your business coach can really help you as well. So, you know, when you get to the stage that you feel that the team is driving forward with you, and very much, you know, you're inspiring them towards that shared vision, that sense of a common purpose, that's when you're really going to have a thriving business. And you'll get that magic stage that Jason described, that you've got, you know, a commercial, profitable enterprise that can work without you. And then you get those choices and those freedoms that Jason described earlier. You know, once you've got that business that can work without you, you might want to stay in the business for a long time in the future, copy the business, set up in other locations, franchise the business as we do in ActionCOACH, or you might choose to sell it, or go and, you know, become a serial entrepreneur and run other businesses as well. So very much in our coaching, you'll find that we work with our clients through mastery, through marketing, through systems, and through team. And all the programs that we run are consistently working with our clients on these first four steps. We don't just stay rigidly in mastery. All businesses need to increase their marketing. So we'll do some work with you on your mastery steps, but then we'll, at the right time and as it's needed, we'll turn up the marketing tab with you and get into the strategies that will help you with your lead generation and improving your conversion rate. I just wanted to give you a sense of some real things that we do with our clients. So the first thing that Jason talked about was in destination mastery. We do some really good goal setting work with our clients. And one of the things that we work with our clients on in the very, very beginning is this process of being very clear about the business owner. What is it that you want to have, you know, both personally and for your business? Because once you're clear about what you want to have, and perhaps breaking that further down into, you know, where is it you want to go, what is it you want to see, what is it you want to share, both at a business and a personal level, the more then you can be inspired and as we describe here, the more you can unleash the power of your goal setting. So we first of all work with our clients on getting a very clear view of where they want to be in 5 and 10 and 3 and 1 year's time. What is it they want to have at that stage? And, as I say, where do they want to go, and what do they want to see, and what experiences do they want to sharing along the way of that goal setting? But that's just so that you can then get very clear. In order to have the things that you want to have, you've got to do certain things. And then it's all about setting goals around the doing. And that's where the first 4 steps come in place. What are the things that we need to do in mastery, in time management, in money mastery, in our lead generation, in our conversion rate, in improving our profit margin? What are all those things we need to do in order to have the things that we want to have within our goals? And then the B part of goal setting is, if we need to do those things, but we've got some kind of limiting beliefs about what it is that we are. So if you might be thinking, well, I'm not a very good marketing person, then we need to change that. And that's our role as a coach, is to help you overcome those limiting beliefs. So in this goal setting, we're working with you as well to kind of work on, well, if you've got, say, that limiting belief of I'm not a very good marketing person, then we need to work on your B, so that you can be a good marketing person. So when you've gone through this process with us, you'll be very clear not only about what it is you want to have, you'll be clear about what is it you need to do in order to have those things. And then you'll also start to get a real sense of how do you need to be different than you are today in order that you can be the best business owner you can be in order to achieve these goals. So that's the process we go through on our goal setting at the big picture level. Something we'll always work with our clients on. Jason's mentioned all of these points so far, but what you'll have with working with us through the coaching, I'd say certainly within a 3-6 month time frame within the coaching, you'll be on a single page. You could almost have your business defined. So you'll be clear on that central vision. You'll be clear on that sense of purpose of why your business exists, and why would your customers miss you if you didn't exist. You'll be clear on, as Jason described, your USP and perhaps your guarantee. And all these will be clearly laid out on a very simple, on a single page, your strategy for your business. What are your core values? What are your 3- and 5-year goals that we'll have worked on? What are your 1-year goals? And what are your 90-day priorities for the next quarter? Jason mentioned KPIs. On this single view of your business, will define what your key performance indicators are for driving the performance of your business. So hopefully that gives you a flavor of, if you look at any of our clients at some stage in the mastery step, and as they go into marketing, they'll all have this very clear view of their business at this kind of very big picture level. When we look at time, Jason mentioned skill value matrix. So here's an example of that. This is in a little bit more detail. We'll work with you to map out your time to understand of the things that you're working on, what's the skill level of that? Because we want you working on the things which are the high value, high skill activity, and the lower skill activity that exists, and the things that you work on. Those are all the candidates that you can be delegating. And as you can bring on more team members, look to kind of delegate that and offload that to them. So we'll go through this kind of skills value matrix with you. We'll work on your daily activities. So we'll encourage you to kind of do this simple process of, at the end of today, let's plan to tomorrow. So let's do our activity list for tomorrow today. Let's be very clear on those kind of critical calls that we're going to make tomorrow, those things. So we'll, and all these templates, by the way, is what we share with our clients during the coaching. We encourage our clients to have a default diary, a nice simple way of how to block your time so that you can really have that focus. So when you are being your marketing specialist, then you can have time dedicated during your week for marketing. You have time dedicated for your sales activity, for your focus on your people, etc. Let's block your time through a default diary. And then I think the last kind of template we've got here is, this is trying to bring alive those strategies that Jason was referring to. We've got 84 different strategies for how you can possibly go about lead generation. So what we do for our clients was we come up with a very simple, again, on a single page, a marketing plan, for all the strategies that you might want to think about for your business. So this particular fact, this example here was for the marketing strategies that we were using for a recent Profit Club. You know, we were getting leads, people coming into Profit Club through particularly Surrey Connect, the networking group, by approaching people directly on LinkedIn, or them coming to us via LinkedIn. We had some people coming into Profit Club through other members referring them. We had some boosts that we were doing on Facebook, and we often and regularly do within ActionCOACH. A lead generation strategy for us is actually, you know, doing some telemarketing direct to people and connecting with them on the phone. So, you know, whatever's appropriate for you, Jason and myself as your coach will be working with you to choose the right marketing strategies for you. And then for each of them, we go through this very clear process of who is it you're targeting, what is it you're going to be offering them, why would they buy that from you? So Jason mentioned about getting clear on the benefits. So we'll be clear with you on your USP, your benefits, why should people buy from you? You know, when exactly you're going to focus on each of these strategies, what the investments are that you're going to make in them, whether that's time or money or both, and what, importantly, what outcomes are you're looking to achieve from these strategies. So Jason gave that example in that business where they were looking to get their leads from 4,000 to 4,400. If these were your 5 strategies for generating those 4,400 leads, you know, we would work with you in that example with that business to be very clear about where are those 4,000 leads coming from as outcomes across these 5 lead generation strategies. Hopefully that gives you a flavour of some of the practical things that we work on with our clients actually within the coaching to kind of bring alive a little bit more what we do at the destination and particularly the marketing level. So just to start to think about, we've got a few things to share with you, and we'll start to wrap up today's webinar. First of all, Jason mentioned our guarantee. So if you're a one-to-one client of ours, then we do guarantee that if we don't make you at least the same level of increased profits in what you invest in your fees with us, then we give you back the difference. So that's very much a guarantee that we provide to our clients. And what we did want to do, I think, next is just share just a quick reminder of the offers, and I think I'm going to do a bit of a testimonial video sharing for you, and then we'll look to wrap up today's webinar. So the offer that we're making is to either come into a one-to-one complimentary, typically a 90-minute session with us, where we can go through a very structured process of working through 6 steps and looking at your business. So that's one thing we offer for people. Again, it's free of charge. Or you can come and have a free trial and join the Members in Profit Club or Action Club and try one of these club environments for yourself. If you come into a one-to-one strategy session for us, what we actually do, this is 6 steps exploded out into a lot more detail. What we do in the one-to-one strategy section, we'll actually go through the first 4 steps that we've been talking through, Jason and I, and we'll actually help you kind of self-assess your system, your business. Where are you today on all these different aspects of our 6 steps? And you'll go through self-scoring, and you'll have a very clear view of your business today. You know, if you're looking to score yourself 10 out of 10, you know, if 10 represents the best possible version of how you can run your business, whether it's your systems or your team or your marketing, if to do that, you've got to be 10 out of 10. Where are you today? That gives you a very clear of what the gap is and what the opportunity is through coaching for me and Jason to be able to help you kind of address that gap and go from where you are today to go to kind of being a, you know, world best business owner and having kind of 10 out of 10 scores on the scorecard. So we go through a very straightforward scoring process with you. We'll typically spend 30-40 minutes of that one-to-one session going through 6 steps with you. We'll also model for you your 5 ways. So we'll actually work on what your 5 ways are right now. And we'll actually create a spreadsheet which looks exactly like this. The numbers might be different, but the format of the spreadsheet will be exactly the same. We'll work out with you what your 5 ways targets are. So you can see on the spreadsheet here, we'll go for a 10% improvement. This is that example earlier that Jason shared with you of a business that was 2 million. We're going to get it to 3 million in the first year by going up by 10%. But this actual model that we'll do with you in that one-to-one strategy session, we'll say, well, you know, a 1 year view is good, but let's take that and look at its profile over 3 and 5 years time as well. So you can see in this business the exciting figures that start to develop for this particular business if you can continue to achieve that 10% year-on-year improvement of the 5 ways. So we'll do 6-step scoring with you. We'll do 5 ways modeling with you as well. And all we ask that you do in order to come into a one-to-one strategy session with us is to actually complete a very straightforward business survey. Probably takes about 30 minutes to complete this. Some very standard questions at the beginning, and then we just ask you to do a little bit of figuring out what are your top 5 business challenges. So there's 28 questions on here to consider, and we just literally ask you to tick your top 5. You do that for us, get that back to us about 48 hours before the one-to-one strategy session, and then we'll prepare. We typically spend about 2 hours preparing for a one-to-one strategy session with you, and then we'll conduct that 6-step scoring and that 5 ways modeling, and then you'll have that very clear view of how we can help you with your coaching. So those are the offers to come into. So yeah, thank you for your time today. If there are any questions, please do put it in the chat. Jason, I'll check in with you. Have I missed anything that you thought we should?
No, you've done a great job there. It's been a pleasure. It's the first webinar I've been involved in, and yeah, let's hope we've imparted some knowledge on there on our viewers.